Okay, so we're going to get started today. Welcome everybody to Are You Ready to Garden Session 10. And we have a wonderful program for you tonight because we're going to get a chance to visit. We have 11 different videos for you tonight of different farms and different opportunities that we're going to talk about for direct marketing and pick your own operations and community supported agriculture, and try to give you a little bit of a taste of what's going on throughout the state and what's currently available throughout New Jersey right now. I know many people are very anxious to get out of their being hunkered down and get out onto farms to do pick your own, and you can do that. You just want to be careful, and all the farms that I'm working with are practicing precautions just to make sure that everybody stays safe, and we're going to talk about that as we go on today. And towards the end, we're going to talk about importance of local ag and talk about storage of some of these fruits and vegetables that are out and about. And I'm very fortunate today to have Bill Erickson on with me, Rich Weidman, and David Smell, our engineer. We may have Lauren Erickson join us towards the end. But our team tonight is a little bit smaller than we originally expected due to family issues that people had to deal with. But we've got a great team, and we've got a lot of wonderful information to share with you. So stay tuned because you're going to see some really good stuff. We've been working for last week putting all this together for you. Okay, first I want to, as I always do, really thank all of our supporters. We would not be able to do the tremendous work we do at the New Jersey Ag Experiment Station without the support of our county governments, which indispensable. Bill and I and the whole crew would not be here without the tremendous support that we get from our county government in Middlesex and Monmouth and all throughout New Jersey. So we greatly appreciate that more than we can ever mention on here. The New Jersey Ag Experiment Station is really kind of our mothership for extension, and a lot of our research and other things that we conduct to help farmers and landscapers and environmental groups throughout the state of New Jersey and beyond really come from the hard work and dedication of all of our colleagues at the New Jersey Ag Experiment Station. And we get money from there that comes actually through the Rutgers University, federal government, state governments, and other entities, and many different grants that we put together. And we get, of course, USDA federal government support for many of our projects and programs where we're doing more sustainable agriculture for our area. And also we want to thank all of our farm community support members, because without our farmers from Middlesex and Monmouth and beyond, we wouldn't be here today, because they are the most incredible group of people to work with. I have been honored to work with the farmers for 30 years. Our farmers in New Jersey are amazing because they want to try new technologies. They're always looking for new sustainable methods to practice integrated pest management, to reduce their needs of pesticides and really produce a good, clean product with a lot of flavor. So you're going to see that today and some of the enthusiasm from our farmers. Thank everybody for all of your support. Especially want to thank Bill Erickson, Ray Samuelis, Pete Nietzsche, Tom Orton, Dave Smella, who's our engineer, Rich Weidman, and Brendan Pearsall, Angela Monahan, Daryl Minch, and Sandra Grenci, who was on last week. And that team will be growing as we get through the season, because we have a lot more colleagues from Rutgers that will be joining us. But when you go on our Rutgers website, as you can see here, there is just so much information. There's videos and fact sheets and many different sources that you can go to for up-to-date information on every topic you can think of in agriculture and plant science and animal science. So it's like a one-stop shopping for all of your informational needs in the areas that we do research on at Rutgers in plant and animal science and environmental science. So thank you to all of our team. We also have a Rutgers, Middlesex County website, and I would like to thank the people that work with us at Middlesex for really vamping up and providing a beautiful website for us for Rutgers Cooperative Extension in Middlesex County. And Bill Erickson has a great one in Monmouth as well that provides a lot of great information. And you can find a lot of links there to all of our ongoing programs in each county and information about how to sign up to become a Master Gardener. And also we have arts and history, business portals, economic and business development. We work together with all these groups pretty seamlessly within our county. And we want to thank the support of all of the freeholders that make this possible and really help to make it a cooperative venture for us to be able to educate the people of Middlesex, Monmouth, and people all throughout New Jersey. So thank you very much. And I just wanted to point out that Bill and I are part of a much larger team. We do research, we bring growers in, and the wonderful specialists that we have at the NJS, New Jersey Ag Experiment Station, to really help us kind of develop new products, new fruit, new strawberries, new basil, new hazelnuts that are out there. And this will be, it's just an incredible cooperation between all these groups. And here you can see farmers are actually providing input, as well as many of the consumers and master gardeners in the development of new varieties. And that's really what we try to do. We get a lot of input from our farmers. And if you think about why do we need experiment stations, if we didn't have experiment stations in each state, they would not be able to keep up with the environmental changes and all the other changes that we face that are very specific to New Jersey or Pennsylvania or Delaware. So it's imperative, especially now with the environment changing so rapidly, and us looking for alternatives to pest problems, that we have our New Jersey Ag Experiment Station. Now, places where you can find good information is, if you're looking for Jersey Fresh, that you can go directly to the jerseyfresh.com/explore, and you'll get information. And we'll have this all on our website, where you can get some of the fact sheets and some of the information I'm talking about, as well as some of the links. But here, if you go on to Jersey Fresh, you will see linkages. You can put in your address, and you can put in how many miles away that you're looking for farms anywhere from 5 to 10 miles out, or a 25-mile radius from where you live. You can search for CSAs, consumer supported agriculture, or if they're doing tailgate markets, you can look for that on there as well. So on each of these search engines, and this one is updated on a pretty regular basis, so it's one great place to go for all the Jersey Fresh producers throughout New Jersey. Also, there's another group that I work with. Bill and I will be working with them through the next years, and that's visit njfarms.org. And it's the New Jersey Farmers Direct Marketing Association. And on their website, they actually have their website broken out into the different farm activities that occur throughout the year, farm markets that occur throughout the state. If you click on there, it'll give you linkages, and it gives you links to the website of the individual farmers, and you can give them a call to find out more information. Many times you can link right from that site. And there's everything on there from farmers markets to nursery and greenhouse operations, pick and cut Christmas trees, pick your own farms for strawberries and blueberries and tomatoes and everything you can possibly think of. And there's also links on there now that we have, one of our newer additions for vineyards and wineries throughout the state of New Jersey. So it's a great place to go for information. And we just want to make sure that you know that there's a lot of wonderful things going on throughout the state, and that these farmers are working their heart out to give you the very best products that they have. And Jersey Fresh has been popular over the years, and there are Jersey Fresh availability charts on our website at both Rutgers and the New Jersey Department of Ag, where you can see what's in season. And now with many people doing high tunnel production, we have been able to extend the season of a lot of crops in New Jersey. We can get those earlier tomatoes and sometimes earlier peppers, depending on where the farm is in New Jersey. So we've been able to provide people with vegetables all the way from April through December, and some people with adequate high tunnels, depending on where they are in the state. And greenhouses are going all year long with production. So it is possible in New Jersey. So, just look for those charts. What you're going to see available right now, we're going to talk about that today. So I'm going to let the farmers tell you a little bit about what's available as of this week as we get to that point. And here are the places we're going to visit today. So this is going to be a lot of fun today. We are going to Happy Day Farm. We're going to go to Thun Farms. We're going to learn a little bit more about ethnic crops that have been growing in popularity throughout New Jersey. because we have a very diverse clientele throughout New Jersey. And these are pretty exciting crops. I get a chance, because I'm in the research, to go out and try some of these new crops, and amazing flavors that if you've never tried before, you want to try some of these different crops that are out there. We're going to visit Snapping Turtle Organic Farm right here in Middlesex County, Pleasant Valley Farm, do community supported ag. We're going to look a little bit at peaches and blueberries and their development and where they're at right now. We're going to get a taste of summer, and Bill and I are going to talk about our favorite corn and tomatoes, and talk about how to harvest and how to properly prepare them so you don't lose flavor. And we're going to wrap it up with our two Jim Reese Farms. Going to talk about direct marketing and his operation right in East Brunswick. And then one of our last stops is going to be the Community Farmers Market in New Brunswick. Lauren Erickson's going to fill us in on all the exciting things that are going on there and tell us about the current status of farmers markets throughout New Jersey. And then hopefully we got our last video is going to be an innovative slide of a farmer who's doing vertical production, and pretty exciting, and Bill's going to talk about that one. So Bill and I are going to go back and forth on that. Bill, you want to introduce Happy Day Farm?
Yeah, sure. So Happy Day Farm is in Manalapan, New Jersey. It's a great pick-your-own operation. They've got raspberries, blueberries, sunflowers, pumpkins in the fall. It's a really clean operation. Why don't you check it out?
We're here today at Happy Day Farm in Manalapan, New Jersey with Farmer Tim. It's a beautiful day and we're standing in the raspberry patch. We've got ripe fruit on the canes, and we're here to talk with Farmer Tim about Happy Day Farm.
So Happy Day Farm is here located in Manalapan. We started 8 years ago. This is our 9th season. We got 4 acres of raspberries, 12 acres of blueberries, definitely known for our sunflowers and our pumpkin picking, corn maze. Maybe hear some of the families in the background. They come out here, they make a lot of great memories. We give them a lot of photo ops. Some people said we're very Instagram, Facebook friendly. So besides the experience of picking a fruit with your hands and tasting it with your mouth and smelling it with your nose, it's just the experience and the memories that they're making as well, besides getting all those elements.
And the raspberry plants, they look amazing. Pick your own blueberries are up next. How are the blueberries looking this year?
They're running a week behind, but they're looking really good. Our first crop we pick is the Duke, larger size, not as sweet, but good. And it's just the first crop. And one guy once said, I told him, they're not as sweet. He goes, I don't care. I put sugar to them. I put them in my pie. They taste good. So yeah, we're excited for this weekend. We're going to open up for the blueberries. Gives you a little tractor ride out over to the patch.
What's your favorite Jersey fresh fruit or vegetable?
When I get a good fresh Jersey peach, like when you bite into that thing and the juice is just coming down, that's awesome. Blueberries are so good. So many times, I walk the field picking blueberries. I pick the raspberries. It's all good. A Jersey tomato. We really have so much here. We have great soil in New Jersey. Almost anything you grow is good. Asparagus, early spring. Man, I can go on and on, Bill. I mean, you want to talk Jersey fresh with me? Yeah, that's cherries. We got a couple good orchards here in Monmouth County. That's awesome. Yeah, so sorry, Bill. I'll have to take the fifth. I can't answer that question, but I could just say all the above. Yes.
I'll have to agree with you. Those are excellent.
Thanks.
Options. Well, thank you so much for your time. Anything else you'd like to share with everyone?
Yeah, just get out there, visit a local farm.
Bill, that's a very nice farm. I like that.
It is. They do a really nice job there. It's really welcoming for families. You could see I think that was a Wednesday afternoon, and there was people there and all practicing social distancing, and they have signs up and hand wash stations and everything. But they do a really nice job. The plants are very healthy. All the rows between the plants are very wide, and they're they have grass planted between the rows and mowed really nicely. So it's very nice to walk around. The plants are super healthy, and it's all pick your own. So you can look for the berries that you like the best and you pick them, and it's they only open it for which.
So that's nice. If you have wide rows, it's easier for the grower to manage, and I would imagine much easier too to manage disease problems because you got all that good air circulation going through there. And if you have, and also try to keep that social distancing while you're out there. It's a lot easier to do if you got that space. Now, does he start? He said he started with asparagus. Does he also have greens out there, or does he focus on other crops?
No, they're primarily raspberries and blueberries, pumpkins, and sunflowers, and they also do hay rides. He actually just put in a lavender patch, and we're going to visit a lavender farm a little bit later in the program, but they have a lavender patch out there also for photo opportunities. They have chickens where people can come and feed the chickens, and they also have a maple sugar house as well. So that's one of the few places I think in New Jersey, and they do demonstrations there in the early spring, late winter. So that's a great experience for people to be able to go out and see that in action as well.
Well, that was great. I enjoyed that. Thanks. So next up, we have the Thun Farm, which is in South Brunswick, Middlesex County. And I've been working with the Thuns since I arrived as a county agricultural agent 31 years ago. What a great family to work with. They really have evolved their operation, and you're going to see Tim Thun, the third generation that's working there, that I've worked with. Let's put it that way. There's been other generations before him. But Tim is a young man, just got out of school not too many years ago, and doing a terrific job working with his dad. And he's going to tell you a little bit about his operation and how what they currently have available on the farm. And he's going to discuss a little bit about safety and what they're doing to maintain safety on the farm.
Hi, I'm Tim Thun here at Thun's Country Farm Market in South Brunswick, New Jersey, here in Middlesex County. We're out here in our U-pick berry field. It's starting to get to the heart of our U-pick blueberry season. We started a few weeks ago with our U-pick strawberries this spring, and now here in June and into July we'll be having our U-pick blueberry season. We have lots of families come out and pick their own blueberries, and they also stop in our farm market and check out lots of the great Jersey produce available, and we're starting to get more and more of our own homegrown produce. We got squash and beets and onions. Today is our pickup for one of our CSA program. We call it our weekly crop share, and we have people sign up for 20 weeks throughout the summer, and they come every week and they come and pick up their fresh fruits and vegetables. And it's all seasonal, so whatever is in season. This week it includes squash and kale and Swiss chard and snap peas and things like that. And as the seasons go on, we give them different crops of whatever is available in season. We try to have everything our own homegrown produce. And we get a lot of people that enjoy doing that, and give them some different variety. They get things they may not have normally tried before, and they really like it because they're helping support their local farmer and buying their produce as fresh as they can get it. Something new in our baskets this week is kohlrabi, which is something most people haven't cooked with before, and something new for us this year is salad turnips. They're kind of like a radish, but they're a little bit sweeter and don't have quite as much of a bite, so you can put it in your salad raw. Something new that we're excited about. This is one of my favorite times here on the farm. We've got U-pick blueberries in full swing, and they will be for the next couple of weeks. Homegrown sweet corn will be starting in probably another week or two. Hopefully right around the 4th of July, might be a little bit after this year. And then shortly after we'll have homegrown tomatoes and all of our favorite Jersey Fresh products here at the farm. And it's just one of my favorite times. Although this year is a little bit different, safety is still one of our #1 focuses here on the farm. We're still able to have people out picking their own berries and shopping in the farm market. But again, we are kind of adapting to the times and doing our best to keep everybody safe and distant best we can.
Just to give you a little bit more on that farm, the Thun Farm has always been a family farm, and everybody there is very close. Wonderful people. Tim and his sisters and mom and dad and his grandparents are all just amazing people, really hardworking, dedicated people. And they run such a clean operation. They also participate in our Rutgers Integrated Pest Management Program. So their goal out there is to really reduce unnecessary pesticide use and try to grow a really, really clean crop. And their corn is some of the best. We've entered their corn in our county fair contest, and their farm and a couple other farms in our area do extremely well in the corn contest. But they have a huge variety of, and they've been reaching out through their CSA program. That's been going well, and they also do a lot of agritourism later in the year. They have many school groups coming in. So when you talk about a family business, this is truly a family business where you've got 3 generations there right on the farm working together. And that's what I think I enjoy the most about many of the farms that I get to work with, that you see how much dedication goes in that these farmers put into their crops. And they produce a really clean product. Thun Farms, like many of the farms that Bill's going to mention, they've all worked with us in extension, and they're all working on research projects with us, trying out our new strawberry varieties, our new disease-resistant tomato varieties or basil varieties. So it's a good group to work with because they want to work with the New Jersey Ag Experiment Station and really kind of work with the development of crops that are best for our area and taste the very best.
And it looks like quite a diverse operation in terms of the number of different crops that they grow too, because as you know, growing squash is much different than growing blueberries, and so to understand and to have the knowledge to produce, really exceptional crops for all those different species is really a challenge.
It is a challenge, and sometimes people branch out slowly into different crops because there's so much science that goes into, selecting the right variety, making sure that you're putting that crop on the right type of soil, making sure you're feeding it properly with nutrients and you've amended the soils and all that. And we've worked with the Von Thunes over the years, and they do an excellent job of all those things. And you're right, it is very difficult to produce so many different crops. Now we're going to turn our attention to ethnic crops. And ethnic crops are exciting because we have many wonderful new ethnic groups moving into our area, which provides this huge marketing opportunity and an opportunity for people to get these crops that they may have missed before or weren't able to get them fresh locally. So let's take a listen to one of our colleagues, Rick Van Rankin, as he talks about ethnic crops from down in Atlantic County.
Hi, I'm Rick Van Vranken, Ag Agent with Rutgers Cooperative Extension of Atlantic County. There are about 50,000 acres of fresh market vegetables in and around the city of Vineland in Atlantic, Cumberland, Gloucester County, Salem County areas. And the farmers here turn to Rutgers Cooperative Extension for our assistance in growing their crops, keeping them safe and healthy, and sending them to market. The majority of the farmers in the Vineland area are Italian in heritage, and because of that, they have always found a little bit different markets for their products. We are a significant player in the retail produce business, but even as one of the top 10 production states, we are really small in the overall picture. So the growers have needed to find specialty and niche markets for their crop, and now they're taking advantage of a lot of the growing ethnic populations in the state. We now have growers growing tomatillo and habanero peppers for the Hispanic markets. Methi, which is fenugreek grown as an herb, is used by the Indian markets, and all these Asian crops that are grown here can be used throughout the Asian culture.
Another very interesting crop down there is dandelions. I don't know, Bill, if you had a chance to either eat or grow dandelions on your farm in the past?
We have grown them, and the cultivated varieties, some of the named cultivars, are really more refined than the wild dandelions. They're really quite good.
So most of the ones, I believe the ones they're growing are the French dandelion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've tried them, and they are really good. You just have to get them at the early stages, and that's when they pack them down there.
Yeah.
Supposedly they're a powerhouse in terms of vitamins. And then, of course, the flowers in the early stages you can eat as well, or you could make dandelion wine out of them, depending on what your goal is. But the flowers taste pretty good, too. Have you ever tried the flowers in a salad of dandelions?
Yeah, we've had those in salads before. There's a handful of flowers that are really good in salads.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're looking at a lot of ethnic crops, and hopefully we'll be doing a lot more work up in the mid-Jersey with what you and I are talking about with these different ethnic crops. So next we're going to turn our attention to fascinating, relatively new farmer, organic grower right here in Middlesex County, Snapping Turtle Farms. And I've just been amazed at how much progress. This is Allison Akbe, who started farming not too many years ago and has really made tremendous progress. And if you look at the crop that she's growing, or the great variety of crops, it's just the cleanest product, and just an amazing person out there doing organic farming and really getting off to a good start.
Hi, my name is Allison Akbai, and I'm the owner and operator of Snapping Turtle Farm. We're an organic mixed vegetable farm here in Middlesex County in Cranberry, New Jersey. We grow 89 different types of vegetables, which allows us to be at farmers markets from May 1st until November 1st every year. Today we're here harvesting some of our cucumbers. We grow 4 types of cucumbers here on the farm, get a wide diversity of things. And right now I am harvesting our small Persian cucumbers, which are a small snacking cucumber where you eat the whole thing, skin and all, sweet and crunchy. I always joke I have to lock our farm fridge or my kids steal them all because they're that good. And then we're still early in the year, so we're harvesting a lot of our lettuces, kale, collards, Swiss chard, radishes. They're still in season as our summer vegetables come up. We're going to be growing 29 types of tomatoes this year, but they don't become ripe until about mid-July. So here we're looking at some of our head lettuce. It's a green leaf lettuce, and we cover it with this cloth because we're an organic farm. We minimize our use of pesticides, and there's only very few we can use. So instead of using pesticides and herbicides to keep off insects, we cover with cloth so the insects can't get to them. And that allows us, without using pesticides, to grow some just lovely lettuce and other leafy greens. This year we're growing several crops that are aimed particularly at the Indian community here in New Jersey. We are growing okra, bitter melon, green bottle gourd as a fresh vegetable, and here we have Malabar spinach. Now Malabar spinach, though it's called Malabar spinach, isn't actually related to the plant spinach. This is a tropical vine that has leaves. They're very thick, and these leaves can taste like spinach and can be used in cooked dishes instead of spinach. Spinach, the leafy green vegetable we know, doesn't grow in the heat at all. So this is a nice crop when you want spinach during the hotter weather of the year, especially those hot, humid days in August that we have here in New Jersey. So we're harvesting zucchini today. These will be going to our farmers markets. On Wednesday, we're at the New Brunswick Community Farmers Market in downtown New Brunswick. On Saturday, we're at West Orange Farmers Market up in West Orange, New Jersey. And on Sunday, we're at the Little Falls Community Farmers Market in North Jersey.
Wow, what a great job Allison did. I love that farm. It's just amazing out there. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to try Malabar spinach, Bill, but it's really, when you cook it, it tastes more like spinach. When you take it right off the vine, it doesn't. It has more of a peppery flavor to it. I don't know if you've ever tried it.
No, I haven't had it.
But it really, it's incredible because it produces, it'll grow. You saw that she had, Allison had netting up on that farm, and that's the nice thing about it. You can grow that vertically, and it just takes over. It grows like a weed, and you get a lot of production out of it. And what I like is it has a lot of, it's packed with nutrients, but it's really flavorful once you cook it. And so it can replace spinach all summer long. It'll tolerate the heat like Allison was talking about. And what I thought was so cool about her farm is that she's got 29 different types of tomatoes.
That's amazing.
And she has 4 different types of cucumbers, including this Persian cucumber that you can eat right off the vine because the skin is so thin on it. And, I would grow that thing and grow as much of that as I possibly could. So if you've never tasted it, that's something as a gardener, you might want to give it a try, or at least go to one of our farmers and make sure you get that while it's in season, because it's really quite good.
And that's one of the things I love about the summer of going right to the farms or to the farmers markets. Is usually there's going to be something that you haven't tried before, whether it's a new crop entirely or a new variety, and a lot of them are quite good. And the farmers know what's good and what they're going to bring to the market. They only want to bring the best thing. So if there's something new that they're bringing out, it's usually something that can be very good to try.
Well, see, and the one thing, too, that I find that farmers are doing a really good job of, especially the direct marketers, they're interacting with their customers on a daily basis. And many times their customers will directly tell them, hey, you know, I like this variety, and they get a lot of feedback. And then through that, and then what the grower learns over the years, they realize which varieties are the best tasting, the most flavorful, you know, easiest to prepare, you know, and are demanded by the customers. And they will actually, many of our farmers will actually cater toward what the better varieties are. And when you're doing direct marketing, you're not just producing a crop to produce, you know, thousands of units to send out somewhere. You're actually trying to really please your customers and make sure that they're satisfied and getting the best tasting product. So that's what I really enjoy working with these small growers, because that's exactly their goal, is to serve the needs of their of everyone that's purchasing from them. So yeah, it's pretty exciting out there. Now, Bill, you're next up with one of your growers.
Yeah. So before you continue, can I ask a question on here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Someone asked, is there any concern about introducing non-native crops in New Jersey?
Not in these cases, because what we have been doing is we've been very careful about any type of ethnic crops that we bring in, and keeping them isolated within specific areas and not letting them go beyond those areas. So I think if you're being careful in how you're producing these, and many of these crops that we're talking about are annuals, so we are able to control. Typically, we don't let them go to seed, many of these varieties. So you're controlling them before they have a chance to spread to other areas. And in a highly managed farm, we're not as concerned about it. If these were going into the wild, you know, and it depends on what it is, but I think the growers have been very good with working with us on that. Plus, we also work with the growers to let them know if something is a little bit more aggressive, you know, to be careful with it. So we don't really have those concerns with a lot of the crops that we're growing now. Any comments on that, Bill?
No, I think that you really, explained it well. And we think about, you know, many of the annual crops that we grow as vegetables are not necessarily native to this area. And, you know, you have some things that can spread, but I don't think that any of our vegetables really become very invasive.
Any other questions, Rich?
That was about it for now.
Okay, great. Thanks, Rich. So the next farm, Bill, I'm going to have you introduce, because it's Pleasant Valley Farm in your neck of the woods. So why don't you tell us a little bit about them? Yeah,
the Pleasant Valley Farm, I really enjoy visiting this farm. And so this is actually a lavender farm. It's a pick-your-own lavender operation. And you would say Jersey fresh lavender. That might sound a little bit different than what we might expect each summer. But you'll see lavender can be used for bouquets and various products that they make. But also, if you want to look up online some recipes for lavender shortbread cookies or lavender lemonade for a hot July day, it can be very good to eat as well. So I would say it does count for one of our Jersey fresh crops. So let's check it out. This is Pleasant Valley Lavender Farm.
So we're here today at Pleasant Valley Lavender. I've got Ellen Karcher here, and we've got a beautiful lavender operation. It's in bloom, it smells amazing, and this is a place that folks and families in New Jersey can come and visit and to check out the farm. So Ellen, please tell us about Pleasant Valley.
I planted this field about 15 years ago, and we have lavender throughout the property, and so there's about 4,000 lavender plants in the ground right now. A good lavender plant, if it's well taken care of, will last you 20 years. So it's really our pleasure to be able to open this up to people and let them come and cut their own during our peak season. This year we're asking them, when they're interacting with us, to wear a mask and to bring their own scissors. Basically, they can come and cut their own, and they can mix and match, so you can put some bright ones in there too. And we'll tell them to go home and turn them upside down and keep them in a dark place for about 10 days to 2 weeks. And then they'll have a bouquet that will keep its color and its scent for years to come. It really could last for about 3 years where the scent will be inside the buds, and that's really a nice little keepsake of their time, you know, out here on the farm. With admission this year, you get a large bouquet that you've cut yourself. And we're limiting the number of people to 4 cars every 90 minutes, so it's in blocks of time, and they're booking fast, so you want to get, you know, in a slot this year.
And what's the peak season for lavender?
Now until maybe July 15th is when it looks absolutely the best. The French lavenders, the ex-intermedias, are just starting to bud, so in another week this will just be much brighter purple, and it will be vibrating with the bees and the butterflies. So it'll look really cool in about a week when all the flowers pop out. When the sun comes out and there's a lot more butterflies, and when the bloom is a little bit more full, we're just filled with butterflies, and we'll hand out butterfly nets and let the kids go running. And you know, I started with making soap years ago, and you need about 30 pounds of flowers to get an ounce of oil. So I have a distiller, and we have soaps and lotions. This year I was staring at a few hundred bottles that would normally be used for the lotions and the linen spray. And I said, oh gee, we ought to make some hand sanitizers and just get this out, because I had the empty containers. This year we're doing it as like you ask for it and we'll get it for you, because people like to kind of open it, smell it. You know, we're just not going to do that this year. So everything is still available. It's just we're going to grab it for you.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
That was interesting. I've never heard of just a lavender farm. So how many people do they have come through on any day, Bill?
This year, they're asking people to call the farm ahead first, but they get quite a number of people, and also for weddings, sometimes people will take either their engagement photos there or stop by for some wedding photos, or also get lavender bouquets for the tables for weddings. So they do all sorts of direct marketing to different clients. But they have numerous different varieties of lavender too, and people might think that there's only 1 or 2 maybe varieties of lavender, but they have maybe 8 or 10 or so varieties, white ones and different purple ones that bloom at different times, and so really nice operation. Minimal pest and disease issues with lavender, no irrigation, so grows in really dry climates, so it's very resource friendly. Deer-resistant crop, and we've been getting a lot of calls in Monmouth County about people wanting to plant more lavender. So I don't know if you've seen that also, but it's a crop that more and more people are getting interested in.
We have. We've had quite a few people interested in it. It sounds like somebody's trying to get on. Is that you, Rich? Just to see if you had any questions there. What I thought was interesting is just that they had all these soaps and other products. Do they make those products available online as well, or?
They are, yeah. On their website, you can go and you can see all the different products that they have, and the hours of the farm. And one thing I'll mention also is when we support local farms, all local farms, we're helping to preserve open space, and especially when we look at farms like Pleasant Valley, that's a pollinator habitat sanctuary there. So when we're supporting that farm, we're supporting the plants that are supporting our pollinators as well. So it's they're really doing a nice job. And the field was buzzing that day, and this was last week, so it wasn't even at its peak. So between now and the next 2 weeks are probably going to be the best time to go there this year.
Imagine that there's some happy beekeepers living nearby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah, it's good to see somebody doing that and able to do well with it, because it's just a fascinating kind of twist on something that, like you're saying, if you had a high deer population or whatever, it's something that the deer don't like. But as you and I know, if the deer get too hungry, they start to eat everything. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Just to interrupt, just to go back to the ethnic crops, somebody also had a question on where can you find seeds for some of the especially ethnic crops? They're growing Bambara groundnut, but it took them several years to find the seeds. So how would they go about, looking for these kinds of?
Well, actually, Rick Van Rankin, if you look, he put out a ethnic crop website. I believe they have that up and running now. So we could post that on a link to that. But if you look up ethnic crops, I believe it's Rick working and put Rick Van Rankin in there too. But they developed a linkage for crops that are out there, and I believe they have seed sources as well. There are some unusual things that you may or may not be able to get a hold of because of restrictions in shipping certain types of seeds that they're concerned about with spreading viruses. Because what we have found in some of our common crops that we have, that we have to be very careful about what plants we bring in from different countries, and they have to be screened to make sure they're not bringing unusual viruses in that could attack some of our other plants. So they have to be screened, and they call it index screening for viruses to make sure that those plants are definitely clean and virus-free. But we'll try to post that on our website next week so that there'll be a linkage to the ethnic crop website, and we'll see if there are some links that we can find. So Dave is going to show you a link towards the end to our Rutgers and our county website, and we'll try to post it up on there.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Rich. So next we've got a video prepared. Jeff Tober from Fernbrook Farms down in Burlington County is going to give you an overview of community-supported agriculture, which has become extremely important to many farmers because it provides that income up front in the beginning of the year and helps people to feel part of that farm that they sign up for in the beginning of the year. So, Dave, roll tape.
These days, we're all trying to do things with the environment in mind. I bike where I can, support mom and pop stores, and basically look for the local option. That's why I'm proud to operate a CSA. What's a CSA? CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. We offer shares of our farm to local families at the beginning of the season. Once the harvest begins, families come to our farm once a week for their pickup of fresh food. At the start of the season, we'll offer produce like lettuce, carrots, peas, and strawberries. Throughout the summer, we'll have all your favorites like melons, peppers, and of course, world-famous Jersey tomatoes. And in the fall, the harvest continues with an abundance of food right after Thanksgiving. In addition to the fruits and vegetables we know you love, we offer interesting, unusual, and heirloom varieties, introducing you to flavors you won't find in the supermarket. The food you'll get is very fresh, often picked that same day, to ensure great taste and maximum nutritional value. It's great for us to know the people we're growing for, and to strengthen the farm's ties to the local community. CSAs are a great way to support a local business and preserve green space at the same time. Community-supported agriculture provides growers with stability and access to new markets. They provide families with access to fresh, healthy food and are helping to re-energize New Jersey's rich agricultural heritage. To find a CSA in your area, go to visitnjfarms.org.
So that's an amazing farm if anybody gets a chance to visit Fernbrook Farms right in northern part of Burlington County. They just have such a great selection of organic products. They do a lot of agritourism there. They do weddings there. They do all kinds of community educational events for youth of all ages. Of course, right now with the pandemic, I know a lot of that has been curtailed. But if you want to visit an absolutely gorgeous farm, you want to visit Fernbrook Farms down in the northern part of Burlington County. And if you want a good place, a good reasonable place to also have your wedding, that's a good place. I know several of my friends have gotten married there, and it's a great place. Also, what I like about it is that they are very cognizant of what they're using on the farm at all times, and I think that's the most important thing. Get to know your farmer and get to know, it's not just whether somebody's an organic farmer or a conventional farmer. it's learning what that farmer does on a daily basis and how they give back to the soil, and how they care about for the next generation, for their own family members. And I think we're fortunate to work with a lot of people that really care about that next generation, because they want their kids and their farm workers to be very healthy. So these small family farms that we work with, they're just all amazing people, and it's great to work with them.
Bill, do you think it's too late for folks to join CSAs now this far into the season?
It's a little bit late, but sometimes, and that's a good thing you reminded me, Dave, thank you. Typically, people will get a share or a half of a share. You can contact the farm. What I would do is just contact the farm and say, hey, is it too late for us to get a half a share or whatever? They may or may not be able to accommodate that because some of these farms specifically target their production to so many shares that they sold in the beginning of the season. But because this was such a bizarre spring for us, I wouldn't hesitate to contact the farmer and say, hey, did anybody drop out of a share, or do you need anybody, to take on any more shares at your farm? And what I'm seeing is a lot more even conventional growers are starting to do CSAs, especially if somebody's practicing integrated pest management. They don't have to be organic, but if they're doing IPM, that means that they're really doing a serious job of limiting unnecessary pesticide use. So yes, I would reach out, and you have connections that we gave you to many of the farms throughout New Jersey, and just find out if they're still accepting CSA applications. The nice thing about a CSA is you really, farmers, just like everyone else, are struggling through this very difficult time. So if you can help by supporting local businesses, especially local farmers, you're really helping out the entire community, and especially people that I know that work probably as hard as they possibly can to get through the day with a lot of unpredictable weather around them that they need to deal with. So yeah, support them when you can. Next up, we're going to talk about peaches and blueberries, two of my favorite crops out there that I just love. And peaches and blueberries are actually some key crops for New Jersey. Freestone peaches and blueberries especially. New Jersey was the mother of blueberries. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the blueberry and peach season.
Summer in the Garden State is an amazing time with so many activities to offer, from the sun and fun at the shore to our awesome mountains. But New Jersey's farmers have a lot to offer too, because summer is when they harvest fresh local fruits and vegetables that are tops in taste. Through June and July, you can try some of the very best our farmers have to offer, like sweet peaches, juicy melons, and of course, the fruit made famous in Jersey, the blueberry. Find these flavors of summer at your local grocer's produce aisle. Or better yet, visit one of the many markets found at local farms and sprouting up in our towns and cities. If you want to get closer to your food's roots, then find a Pick Your Own farm. They're a great way to get in touch with agriculture and teach your kids that food doesn't just come from the supermarket. For an updated list of what's in season and where to get these great New Jersey crops, visit us online at visitnjfarms.org.
The one thing about fresh blueberries, I will tell you, and peaches, and actually most of the crops we're going to talk about today, is that they are out of this world good, but they are so good for you in terms of nutrition. I've been reading up on a lot of nutritional information from different nutritional institutes across the country, talking about how just the incorporation of targeted fruits and vegetables in your diet can really go a long way to improving health. Maintaining fruit and fiber and balances of protein. And blueberries are just one of the most amazing crops. As a matter of fact, I've incorporated blueberries into my diet every day. I even store frozen blueberries for the winter time, and I always put those in my smoothies with walnuts and some other ingredients. But just an amazing thing. And when you get fresh blueberries right off the field, and you can eat them right out of the field, or if you want to make a pie out of them. I love blueberry pies, but it's just one of the best things. And because these antioxidants that give them their dark color are actually extremely protective to the immune system and throughout the entire body on so many different levels. So, looking for grapes and blueberries and tomatoes and vegetables with a lot of different colors with anthocyanins and, different elements and compounds in them that really protect against oxidation within your system. It's not only protective, but they taste good too. And the varieties that we're growing, a lot of these, the development for the blueberry is done by, we have an experiment station in Chatsworth, and they do incredible work with developing new blueberry varieties and cranberry varieties for our area. And some of the best tasting blueberries and cranberries that you'll ever have come or originated actually out of the Rutgers labs down there with the New Jersey Ag Experiment Station. Any other comments, Bill, on that? Because I know you're into blueberries, especially in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, and blueberries are originated from New Jersey, and then the work at Rutgers really developing them for a commercial crop here in the state. Peaches also, there's tremendous peach breeding work by Dr. Joe Gaffreda over at the Cambridge Experiment Station right in Monmouth County. So, peach varieties that are now grown all over the country and throughout the world were developed right here. So, he's looking for, disease resistance and flavor, the texture of the peach, and so he's really excellent scientist, excellent peach breeder.
Yeah, Joe Gaffreda, I'm so impressed with those small pancake flat peaches that he developed. And just the taste of a lot of those new varieties, just out of this world. And, while we're on it, talk about how you pick peaches for the maximal flavor. So when you're harvesting out there.
So you want to wait until they're just starting to get soft. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you want to wait until that peach is almost fully ripe, unless you're going to eat it right in the field. Then you can pick it when it's fully soft and ripe. But just when it's, don't want to pick it too early. A lot of the peaches that you might get in the grocery store have to be picked early and shipped. By getting it directly from the farm, you can pick the most ripe peach, and that's going to be the best one. Sugars are going to be most fully developed.
And we saw sweet corn on there earlier in some of the slides. Actually, we're going to be talking about that next, right, Dave? So let's roll that, and then we'll talk about sweet corn and tomatoes and how to properly pick and store those, and even how to properly cook corn, because most people do not cook corn correctly. So we'll leave you in suspense until we get back so we can maximize our corn flavor. Dave, roll tape.
In New Jersey, we know summer's here when our two most delicious crops arrive at roadside farm stands and backyard barbecues. The world-famous taste of Jersey tomatoes and sweet corn are as big a part of New Jersey summers as our boardwalks and beaches. If mild weather prevails, by the 4th of July, we can treat the family with a healthy supply of these favorites. But if you're planning to serve these treats to friends and family, there are a few simple tips to ensure that they taste their best. Whether from your yard or local farm, tomatoes should be picked when they're almost soft, not firm. Don't refrigerate them unless they've been sliced. Store them on a cool countertop out of direct sunlight, not on the windowsill. When it comes to sweet corn, it's just the opposite. Keep corn refrigerated while still in the husk. This prevents the sugars from turning into starch. When cooking corn, don't overdo it. Overcooking takes away its natural sweetness. Husk and rinse the ears, and then add them to boiling water and cook for only about 3 to 5 minutes. You can also try microwaving corn in the husk for just a short time. So when July arrives, look for New Jersey sweet corn and tomatoes at a community farm market or roadside farm stand near you. For a listing of New Jersey farm markets, find us online at visitnjfarms.org and like Visit NJ Farms on Facebook.
So with sweet corn, one of the things to remember is that there are many different varieties of sweet corn out there, and that some are much better than others. And also, depending on how you pick sweet corn goes a long way as to how much flavor you get out of sweet corn. My earliest memories, when I was very young working on the farm, probably 5 or 6 years old, I was out picking sweet corn with my brothers before the sun came up. In our family farm, we still actually pick sweet corn super early in the morning, and we would put it in bags and then cool it down immediately once we got it back to the packing areas. And that's really what would keep and lock the flavor into sweet corn. And then we would keep it in those cold storage areas, and we would sell it all that same day. We would move corn, and that's the way that corn tastes the best. When you harvest it the same day and you eat it the same day, the flavor is just unbelievable. I've been so spoiled because I grew up on a farm where a place where we actually always had fresh sweet corn. Even day-old or two-day-old corn, I know when I have it because I can taste the difference. But sweet corn is something, too, that no matter, depending on where you go in the state, some people like sugar-enhanced varieties, or some people like super sweet varieties. But clientele in different areas of the state will actually develop specific taste for specific lines of corn. So the farmers will actually grow what local people would like them to grow. And growers are always experimenting with tomato, sweet corn varieties, and all these different crops that we grow, trying to figure out what does best on their farm, but also what tastes best to their consumers or to their people that are buying from them at the farm directly. And we're always experimenting with new varieties and then asking customers how they like those varieties. And that's the magic of going to a local farm, because you can get unusual varieties. You're not getting something that is being produced in tens and 100,000 acres and shipped to you from a faraway place. You're getting all these different varieties with different flavors and just amazing varieties that they wouldn't probably grow anywhere else quite as good as they do here in New Jersey. Also, there's a certain magic, Bill, I'll let you talk about in a minute, but there's something about Jersey tomatoes and corn that I've done a lot of traveling, and I have never in any other state had corn or tomatoes that are quite as good as they are in New Jersey. And I've always talked to Joe Heckman, our soil scientist, about this as to whether it's a combination of the soils and the nutrition and other aspects of it, especially with sweet corn. But the same goes with tomatoes. When we've done tomato taste test, if we go to the different areas of the state, we can look at the same exact variety, and it will taste different in each of those different soil types. Mm. Now, you grow a lot of these things. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, and I think it's just like, different grape growing regions have the specialty, characteristics that get into the wine. I think we have that in our corn and tomatoes in particular, and in different areas of the state and throughout New Jersey. I think also there's something about waiting for that really good summer tomato or the first sweet corn from New Jersey, because you don't have it all winter. I mean, you can get it from the store, but it's not the same. And so whether you're, just eating mediocre corn and tomatoes throughout the winter and getting something good, or just abstaining and waiting for that treat, which is now just around the corner, that I think that anticipation goes a long way too.
And overcooking corn is probably the worst thing you can do. It just pulls the flavor right out of it. It's almost like putting a tomato after you harvest it in the refrigerator. It just pulls all the flavor out of that tomato. Really, once we get the water boiling, 2 to 3 minutes is all you need. You're just basically preventing sugars turning back to starch. You're locking in the flavor, but don't overdo it with the cooking with that. And you'll find that you'll get a lot more flavor out of it. And with a lot of these new varieties, we had varieties last year. We didn't have to put a lot of butter on there and salt and pepper, even though I like to do that because I like butter and salt and pepper. But the flavor is just so outstanding on it. And if you get corn that's been harvested fresh that morning, also when you pick corn, having done this my whole life, and had to do it with 2 hands while it was dark out in the field, you actually feel for the tip of the ear of corn. And if the end of it is brown to black, but then you feel whether the tip is actually filled out properly and it's somewhat firm, not too soft. But you can also feel it too once you learn how to kind of ascertain whether corn is overripe or underripe. If it's a little underripe, it's going to be a little bit softer at the edges in the tip or top of the corn. And if it's filled out to the tip and it's been harvested that day, that's really the best corn. And you want to cool that down as quickly as possible. Some other things you want to cool down right away: blueberries, strawberries. What we typically do is we'll put strawberries in shallow containers, harvest them first thing in the morning, get them into cold storage so that because in order to maintain strawberry flavor, you're talking about locking in the sugars and many of the volatile compounds that really give strawberries the outstanding flavor that they have. So if they're stored in a hot area for too long, they really start to lose much of their flavor. So it's important to know when and how to harvest or how to store different vegetables and when to harvest them. You were talking about blueberries when they have that real dark blue color. And, the birds know how to harvest blueberries and cherries better than we do, because you'll see them out there trying, they'll do their best to try to get every last blueberry if you don't protect them. So that's why some farmers have to use netting where they have blueberries and cherries.
Yeah, and raspberries I'll mention also in terms of storage, because that's a tricky crop. It is very perishable. You want to eat it within a couple days, and when you bring it home from the farm, cool it down, just like blueberries and strawberries. Put it in the refrigerator. If your refrigerator tends to dry out berries, you can cover it, but you don't want to wash them until just before you're going to eat them. Same with our other berry crops. So you want to get them cold, but not wet. And then just before you eat them, that would be the time to rinse them off.
That's a really good point, because if you wash them too early, they will go bad. So knowing all those little tips, and Bill and I are going to put some tips up there on the proper storage on our websites at Rutgers and our county website too. So you'll be able to access it from there. Next, we're going to switch over to Jim Reese Farm. And I've known Jim Reese for many, many years. 31 years I've been in Middlesex County. One of our very best growers, one of the state leaders, been on the State Board of Agriculture, and has served us well in many leadership positions, and one of the nicest people I think I've ever worked with in my life, and also very innovative, always willing to try new things and do research with us. And thank goodness for people like Jim, because we've been able to develop a lot of strawberry varieties because his willingness to try things out. So, Jim, we're going to turn it over to you to talk for a minute here.
Hi, I'm Jim Reese. Myself and my wife, Sue, Jim Reese Farms here in East Brunswick. We have a farm store, or a farm market, which means that we bring our produce into the store right from the field. We have a full market, basically with baked goods and other stuff in the store too. But direct marketing is what we do, and we do it because we can kind of squeeze the middleman out of things a little bit, and we can make a little bit better profit. June, we just finished strawberries, and customers could pick their own peas. As we move forward, as we get into July, we're about a week and a half away from our own sweet corn, and obviously peaches also. Tomatoes are probably right around the end of July for our own, but we'll get South Jersey tomatoes in here a little bit earlier. And people are always looking for the local, and in Jersey, and you really can't get any fresher than coming to a farm. My favorite season is, we're almost there. We're just about done planting, about the middle, the end of July. We finish up planting, so that frees me up to harvest. And then, honestly, apples and pumpkins kind of signals the end of the year, and everything is in. Basically we're harvesting, stuff from apples to zucchini, and anything in between. Another part of the season I really do enjoy is Christmas, because people are in a good mood. They tend not to hang out too long because the weather could be a little chilly. But people enjoy hot chocolate. We have hot chocolate and donuts. And obviously, the whole family comes out and picks their own Christmas tree. They select it, we'll cut it. Again, our market is located here in the store, and again, it's fresh fruits and vegetables, and we grow our own. But, besides us, there's plenty of other farms in Middlesex County and throughout New Jersey, and there's a lot of tailgate markets. Tailgate market is where a farmer will come with a pickup truck, throw it on a tailgate, put out a table, tomatoes, peaches, eggplant, squash, just a lot of good stuff. And you're getting it within a day or two of being harvested. It's local. Right now with the pandemic going on, a lot of people were looking to avoid a supermarket. So at least if you're outdoors, you can shop and you can enjoy the fresh air and look around and see what the farmers have to offer. And obviously it's a lot fresher and probably healthier for you too, because the vitamins are still in it.
So, yeah, Jim has a lot of crops. For the size farm that he has, I'm always impressed with the diversity. Jim was also the Nationally Outstanding Young Farmer back in 1989, and I joke him now he's the Outstanding Middle-Aged Farmer. because Jim and I are about the same age, so I don't want to say he's an older farmer. And Jim and his wife both work at the farm, and they've actually trained some of our students at Rutgers and have done a tremendous job helping young people get off and started and learning how to farm for the first time, because farming can be very complex, and it is. If you're going to make it and you're going to be a successful farmer, there are many different skills that you have to be good at and you have to learn. So, you know, I like the way Jim was one of the first people in the area really to do direct marketing and agritourism at the level that we're starting to see now throughout the state of New Jersey. And you can see that because he's been direct marketing for over 30 years, he works well with customers and he does a lot of consumer education. So those of you that are looking for people to come to your schools, or actually having schools visit farms once things with the COVID clear up a little bit, many of these farmers are more than happy to have young kids come out for their agritourism operations where they can learn about agriculture and learn where their food comes from. So coming up, we're going to learn a little bit more about community farmers markets and the state of communities farmers markets from Lauren Erickson. And Lauren has been managing the New Brunswick Community Farmers Market and doing a great job of that. And that's really getting off to a good start this season. So, Dave, you want to roll tape?
Hi, I'm Lauren Erickson with Rutgers Cooperative Extension and the New Brunswick Community Farmers Market. We're a program that's been operating since 2009 with the goal of bringing fresh fruits and vegetables to the New Brunswick community, both through our farmers market and also through our community gardens where I'm standing this morning. Our program operates in a few different locations in terms of the markets. So we are trying to reduce barriers to fresh fruit and vegetable intake by reducing transportation problems. So we are here in New Brunswick at Jones Avenue on Saturdays and on Tuesdays, and we're also located at a downtown New Brunswick location on Albany Street on Wednesdays. One of the key things about community farmers markets is that we have a dual benefit in terms of providing increased fresh fruit and vegetable access and therefore increased nutrition in our urban communities, and we're also supporting New Jersey agriculture. So we're providing a venue for local farmers to have a place to sell what they're growing, what they're producing, and sort of bringing together the farm community with the urban communities throughout the state. We work with a number of different New Jersey farmers, so we're a great place to come and get some Jersey fresh fruits and vegetables. And because of the unique needs of our community, we also work with growers who can bring in some tropical fruits and vegetables that have cultural relevance for our New Brunswick neighborhoods. We accept different kinds of payment here at the New Brunswick Community Farmers Market. Like many markets throughout the state, we work with farmers who can accept WIC and Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program vouchers. And here at the New Brunswick Community Farmers Market, we double the value of those vouchers so that shoppers can get more for their dollar. We're also part of the Garden State Good Food Network, and through their program, we're able to accept SNAP EBT benefits and double the value of those with Good Food Bucks as well. So one of the things you can look for throughout the state when you're going to support a farmer's market is the Garden State Good Food Network logo, and you'll know that you're supporting a market that also helps the community. Some of you might be wondering what the status of community farmers markets is throughout the state given the current COVID-19 pandemic and restrictions that may or may not be in place in different areas. Most of the community markets throughout the state are open and taking precautions to ensure the safety of customers, of staff, and of farmer vendors who are coming to participate at the market. Some of the things that we have in place here are requiring face coverings in the market area, requiring social distancing, and we've set up shopping lanes and demarcations to help people know where to stand and how to follow these guidelines. We've set up hand washing stations on site, both where customers enter and also exit the market, so we're ensuring sanitation that way. And we've got separate people working to handle fresh produce and to handle money when it becomes a concern in terms of having contact and minimizing contact for people on the market site. Thanks for coming.
That is an amazing farmer's market, and I'd recommend it if you haven't tried, if you haven't tested it out and gone out there. There's a lot of variety out there of produce. Oh, here's Lauren. There she is.
Hi, Bill. I've taken
How you doing?
If there's any questions.
Yeah, great. Fantastic. I'm glad you're here. That was wonderful. You are great on camera there. You did a great job of telling us a little bit about the market. So you guys, did you just get started last week you opened up, or?
We opened up on the 20th of June, so we've got about 2 weeks under our belt at this point. Allison, who you heard from earlier, she mentioned vents with us on Wednesdays, so we just lucked out and did not have to close due to thunderstorms yesterday, so that's always a summer concern for us. But in the video, you could see us at our Jones Avenue location where we have a large wooden pavilion that provides shelter, so we're open rain or shine in that site, which is a nice thing.
What other locations do you have in the New Brunswick area for those that might be interested in visiting the other spots?
So on Wednesdays, we're on Albany Street. It's actually the corner of George and Albany Street in downtown New Brunswick, and that's where Allison vends with us, and we'll be bringing some of the different specialty products that she talked about. And then we will often open up a third location on Cook campus of Rutgers University in the fall, right on the border of Cook-Douglas, near the Douglas Post Office and Student Center, and that would be on Thursdays. However, we're sort of in a holding pattern due to the pandemic. We're kind of waiting to see what the status of campus will be in the fall, and should learn soon whether or not that one will be able to open up and get going. But that will start in September.
That's great. I mean, it looks like Allison is really bringing a lot of really great ethnic crops to your market, and I'm just impressed at how clean her operation is, and just how, I mean, she has a great variety of all these different types of cucumbers and tomatoes and everything. So I would imagine your customers are going to be really excited about trying all those new things out there.
I think so. We're very excited. We have done a series of community surveys over the past year or so to gauge consumer food preferences. And so a lot of the things that we heard about in the surveys are things that Allison will be growing. She mentioned the bitter gourd or bitter melon, different kinds of okra. We've heard about different kinds of hot peppers and greens that people are interested in. So we're hoping that sort of comes to fruition with her bringing some of these different products for us, that we can really fill a gap with some of our customers' needs.
That's great. You know, while you have to,
question for
Go
Lauren.
ahead, Rich. Rich has got a question. Go ahead, Rich.
There's a question regarding the market hours. Somebody is saying something about opening later in the day for those working during the day. I know in the past, I think you did some of that, didn't you?
When the market first started, I think there was a later time period. One of the challenges that we work with is, it's not a challenge, but we also try to work with vendors, so it depends when our farmers can come to some extent and when we can base our hours around. Our market runs from mid to late June all the way through the end of October. So the other issue that we run into is daylight, unfortunately. When we've had later hours and it starts to get dark in September and October, we have safety concerns in terms of people coming through with just foot traffic and being able to see well enough. We have lights under our pavilion, but not so much in our downtown locations, so that kind of plays into the factor. But Tuesdays, we're open on Jones Avenue from 10 to 2, and then we're there again on Saturdays, and our Saturday hours are from 9 to 1. And then Wednesdays, we're downtown from 11 to 3.
So what kind of exciting new vegetables and fruits will you have there this year, besides some of the ones we mentioned that you're kind of excited to see there?
Well, I'm personally actually really interested to see the Malabar spinach, which has been mentioned, in Allison's presentation. Is something I've heard of but have never had the chance to try before. And then I'm hoping we'll get some different hot peppers coming in. And then some of the things that our community gardeners are growing. At Jones Avenue, we have the community garden, as you saw in the video clip. And so gardeners there will sometimes grow different hot peppers. One of our gardeners gave me seeds from a long red cayenne type pepper that was from her family in Mexico, and they were able to bring some seeds with them, and now she grows them over here. So I'm always excited to try sort of lesser known things like that and get to experience what people from other cultures are growing and trying out.
Nice. Save me some seed if you can. I always want to try new things. So, in terms of the site there, are you able to, I know you have the 3 sites there, and then you're going to stay open through the fall. How late does your market go?
So right now, our last day is scheduled to be Halloween, which is a Saturday this year.
Okay.
Of course, it's subject to the pandemic progression. Hopefully, things continue along in such a way that openings continue to increase, and we'll be able to maintain operations safely. That's the #1 goal. But now through Halloween is the plan.
Do you have cooking demonstrations out there or this year?
So in a normal year, that is something we try to do. We work with the Department of Nutritional Sciences at Rutgers University to do nutrition education and some cooking demos. We've also worked with New Jersey SNAP Ed to do cooking demos. However, this year, again, because of the pandemic, if I had $1 for every time I said because of the pandemic, we're not able to do cooking demos on site. But what we've done instead is we've actually partnered with the Elijah's Promise Culinary School in New Brunswick.
Oh, nice.
And they're doing some catering of samples for us. So they're preparing a commercial kitchen, they're packing it to go in small containers, and then we're able to pass those small containers to our customers so they can take home some of the things in a food and COVID-safe manner and try some exciting samples at home. So this week, for example, we have a kale, quinoa, and blueberry salad that we've given out, which sounds like something you might not have tried before, but the chefs at the culinary school did a great job. It's delicious.
That sounds pretty darn good. I mean, kale, quinoa, and blueberry salad, you said?
Mm-hmm. So going back to what you were saying, Bill, about adding fruit to things for different nutritional improvements, blueberries are super easy to add to things, and that's one of the things we try to talk to our market customers about is ways to add things in for yourself and then also for your kids. How to sort of sneak vegetables into different things, for lack of a better word, to help increase that nutrient intake.
Yeah, I actually invited a professor from out of Berkeley who does a lot of work with I would say applied nutrition, talking about how different vegetables and fruits and different things actually impact genetic, things that are expressed in your body and really keep you healthy. So it's pretty interesting. So I'm seeing if I can get that person on our program in about a month from now. So we'll see what happens.
That would be wonderful. I will definitely tune in.
Yeah, I'll let you know if I find out, as soon as I find out. But yeah, thank you so much for giving us that update. Now, you had talked about markets being open in the state, and to your knowledge, are a good number, or 60%, 70% of the traditional markets opening?
I would say a pretty large number are opening. Some might be delayed, so I would just suggest checking, with your town or your local market. If you have a direct way to search that or get in touch with your local market, try to confirm with them. A couple sites where farmers markets might be listed would be the Fine Jersey Fresh website, and then I know the Edible Jersey website has done a really good job of reaching out to a number of markets throughout the state to confirm whether they're open or whether they're delayed, or if they've perhaps changed hours or have special hours for seniors, which certain markets have been able to do. So that Edible Jersey list might be one of the most up-to-date in terms of specific markets.
That's great. Thank you so much, Lauren, for sharing all of your expertise. And it sounds like your market is off and running there. So
we are. So
I hope we get you a lot of great new customers. I'm excited about Allison being there. I'm going to have to stop down there next week and buy some stuff because I'm getting hungry just talking about it.
Great. Please do.
Maybe because I didn't have dinner yet, but take care. Thank you so much.
Take care.
So next up, Dave, do you have our next cue ready to go? One of our last videos that we wanted to show you before we come back and kind of do a summary of what we're learning about. Bill's got his hat on. He's just trying to compete with me here. So anyway, Bill, you want to introduce this last presentation here? This is one of your growers.
Yeah, this is a really innovative Monmouth County grower. This is Beyond Organics, and this is also part of Reese Sod Farm. So Reese Sod Farm is a great sod operation, multi-generational. You can see in the background the quality of the grass that they grow. But that they also have an aeroponic greens growing operation and juice bar. And so we're going to take a look at that. And I'll also mention these growers, as well as Happy Day Farm and Pleasant View Lavender. They're all part of the Grown in Monmouth system. So this is a network of growers in our county, and where you can search for local farms in Monmouth County, just like our Jersey Fresh Farms. If you go to growninmonmouth.com, and you can search that. But this is another great grower in our county, and yeah, go ahead, let's check it out.
So we're here today with Teresa Reed from Beyond Organic Growers and Reed Sod Farm in Freehold, New Jersey. And we've got quite an innovative Monmouth County operation going on here. Teresa, tell us about Beyond Organic Growers.
About 5 years ago, we were starting to look into how to grow locally, eat clean. I had a little tower garden. I was upstairs in my spare room, and it was January and it was freezing cold out, and I was growing these plants, and I thought, wow, this is something I think we could do. You know, people are eating healthy. They're really starting to think about where their food's coming from, and we can see the trend coming. And so we just, I don't know, we just dove in.
And so how would you describe the growing process that you have going on? Would you consider this a hydroponic operation or aeroponic operation?
Well, it would be aeroponic, because hydroponic is horizontal, so we're growing vertically, and we use 90% less land and 90% less water than your conventional farming. We don't spray. We are actually using a new technology to control, you know, some of the pests and the fungus and things that do come associated with growing in a greenhouse. Lettuce is not an easy thing to grow.
And so do you see the aeroponics operation as sort of the cutting edge, the next innovation of agriculture for the area?
I see this as how we can feed the world. You know, other places where clean water is an issue and you know, soil is an issue. You know, it's kind of changed and evolved into things we weren't really thinking about. At the time, we were just like, let's grow lettuce and herbs and we'll sell it to restaurants. And from there, you know, people started coming in and asking if they could buy it directly for themselves. We started having farm-to-table dinners and having yoga. Then we just decided, why aren't we juicing what we grow? So we added a juice bar to that. Then while they're picking up a juice, can they purchase some other market items? So we evolved into doing a little market on the side with it. And, you know, that's kind of where we are today. And we try to grow different things. You'll see lemon basil, tangerine edible marigolds, lemon sorrel. We'll do the spring mix and the romaine and the butter lettuce, but we also do like a red oak, a summer crisp, a different version, a couple different versions of romaine, your arugula, your kale, your spinach. These are all delicious flavors, and they're finding out that, you know, eating healthy does taste good. Just come down and take a look, take a tour, walk through the greenhouse, see what the future is bringing, and discover that you can eat healthy and not feel deprived.
Bill, that was pretty amazing. A lot of that equipment looked like some of the similar to what we were doing up at the Rutgers University research greenhouses with the vertical growth.
They have a really nice operation there. It's really sophisticated. They're able to control the nutrients and the water. You know, it's all digitally controlled, and they monitor everything very closely, and, you know, replant and replace things as they're finishing up. But it's, yeah, they do a really good job.
Yeah, I'd love to bring our undergraduate class out there this year if we're able to do it. I guess we got to see whether or not we're able to do that. But yeah, that looks very interesting. Pretty amazing.
And they're producing year-round, you know, different greens, different things are more suited towards the winter, but yeah, they're able to keep their production going year-round. And the juice bar is really nice, too. So
they're moving their stuff to restaurants within the... How far out do they go with the restaurant trade?
That's a good question. I think they're keeping everything fairly local for the most part. Yeah, I'm not sure what their maximum distance is, but yeah, New Jersey restaurants, I would say, are their primary audience.
Yeah, they had some amazing stuff there that I would like to try, because it sounded like that, you know, things that I typically have never grown. So it would be fascinating just to try. And then they had dinners. I'm sure they're not having them now, but the
Yeah,
neighbors.
that was a pre-COVID picture. The shot.
Yeah, pre-COVID. Yep. Yeah. Oh, before I forget, everybody, if you could take a minute to fill out that survey to the right, that really helps Bill and myself and our whole team be able to get some great data back. And also, let us know in the comment section or email Bill and I if these programs have been helpful to you, if there are other topics you would like to see, and tell your friends and other people about it too, because we plan to go as long as there's an interest with this. And we've got some pretty interesting speakers that I'm lining up from UC Berkeley and all over the place that I've contacted, and great people at Rutgers that we're working with. And it's just an endless supply of people that are really tops in their field and know a lot about, different vegetables and nutrition and new crops that they're developing across the country. So take a minute to fill out that survey. And I want to thank Bill for being with us today and being co-host today. He did a great job, and please thank Dennis for all of his work filming. And Dave did a great job of filming today. We have Dave Smellin. I've got an excellent engineer. We wouldn't have been able to run all these videos and even have the videos if not for his expertise in putting all this together. So greatly appreciate Dave. And Rich Weidman, my colleague for 29 years. Thanks, Rich, for helping out with the questions. Were there any questions we didn't get to, Rich, that we could handle now?
Before he chimes in, let's just encourage people to fill out that poll. And now, Rich, any more?
Yep, fill out the poll, everybody, if you can. It's a very good poll, and it just gives us good information. Go ahead.
No, I don't think there was anything else. We had a lot of people thanking us for the great program. We enjoyed it. It's a fun program.
Yeah, we got to travel a good portion of the state today, thanks to the amazing work of our videographers that we have.
We have two questions. People are wondering if there are aeroponic classes at Rutgers, and also if Master Gardener classes will start in September this year. I guess it depends on the county, but maybe you could elaborate.
Some counties are able to start. I know in Middlesex County, we do plan to start classes. They're not going to be in-room classes. They're going to be online at first. And then if we can get the go-ahead to do face-to-face classes down the road, we will, especially in the springtime, because in Middlesex we have both the evening and a day program, and then we have a lot of outdoor activities that we'll go through next spring through next summer, because we have a 400-acre park that we're at, so it's a beautiful park. I don't know about Monmouth County. What are you guys planning to do, Bill, for your Master Gardeners?
We are not going to run a fall program this year.
Okay.
Yeah, Monmouth is not running a class.
Okay. So this year the price will be reduced if we're doing online classes, but it'll be very comprehensive. The speakers will be anywhere from 2 to 3 hours covering a wide range of subject matter. And you'll probably see, more than likely, Bill Erickson and myself and Rich Weidman and Lauren. We're hoping to get in there to talk about some of the great things that she's working on with ethnic vegetables. So if you're interested, also I know that some of the Rutgers classes that I teach, we sometimes have people sit in on those, but you have to contact the department. I teach sustainable ag and starting and managing a small farm, but Bill Erickson and I and a group of other colleagues are putting together an Are You Ready to Farm program, which will be starting up as soon as we can start it. But that'll be specific to, jumping from a garden situation to a larger scale where you're actually producing to sell in some capacity. And many people beginner farming on a very small, slow pace in the beginning. And what our program is going to do is just kind of hold their hand a little bit of where they can get resources throughout the state, how to get into it slowly, so you can figure out what the best crops to grow if you're interested in it, what are the resources out there in terms of land availability, grants that are available for beginner farmers and all that. So Bill and I and Ray Samuels and others are going to be doing some graduates.
And are there Are there any classes specific to aeroponics yet at Rutgers?
Specific to aeroponics, there are, but I don't know if they're going to run them this next semester. So keep in touch with myself. If they send me an email, william.lubick@rutgers.edu, and ask for the aeroponics class, I will put that in my to-do list to get back to them to let them know if they are going to run that class. I know they have hydroponic class, but I have to see whether or not they're actually going to run an aeroponics. But I can let you know about that, because a lot of classes right now, they're not sure if they're going to be held and which ones are going to be in person, if they can do that, and what labs are going to be held and whatever. So
just thank everybody for tuning in and supporting local farmers. I know all the farmers are happy to share their work with all of you and their knowledge and their stories. So thank you for being a part of the agricultural community in this state.
Yeah, the farmers really depend on the cooperation of everybody in the community. And we wouldn't have small farms throughout New Jersey unless we had really dedicated customers. And I think once you get a chance to taste Jersey Fresh and products that have been harvested, we've even turned kids on a lot of times that have never liked vegetables if they give them really good sweet corn and tomatoes and cucumbers, like the Persian cucumbers and all those great things. It's amazing how they start to develop a taste for these things, and their health improves too by improving their overall diet. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye, and thank you so much all for joining us. We hope to see you next week. And thanks to Dave and Bill and Rich and all of our crew, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.